Well, I've finished my recent part therapy, and I'm very much the same. Of course, which is to be expected. Therapy is not a solution, and that's okay. Did I get anything out of it? I suppose I did. Um, I've been paying more attention to my moods and my motivations, my inspiration or lack thereof. Um, I've noticed that I have a very short fuse now post therapy, um, because I don't have that outlet anymore. Because I live in a country where therapy is treated as um, like a cure or a short-term solution. In other places of the world, therapy is more like an ongoing lifestyle thing, right? Where you go every so often and it's kind of like a social and emotional top off, right? You have things on your mind, you want to talk about them. In an ideal world, you wouldn't need that, but we don't live in an ideal world. Um, Unfortunately. And if you happen to be somebody like me who is relatively isolated and kind of abrasive anyway, you don't have a whole lot of options for talking about stuff, for better or worse. So therapy was good. It was nice to talk to somebody. I had the impression towards the end that she kind of just wanted rid of me, which is fair enough. I'm pretty intense. Um, it was hour-long sessions. I just sit and fucking rant at this poor woman. Um, so I understand it. Um, doesn't make me feel any better. It kind of makes me feel worse, but that's just the way it is. Uh, I think that I think that some people are just corrosive. I think that something acidic about certain types of people, whether they're born into it or whether it's a culmination of events producing this kind of insipidness, this corrosive, this bile. Um, I don't know, but I've always had the impression that I'm kind of that way. Um, evidently, evidently, but yeah. So it's done now. Kind of sucks. I've been trying to fill the void with like other things, work, but it only lasts so long. Eventually, I get a kind of build up. I can't really do anything about it. I go for walks and stuff. Started walking now because we're into colder weather. Uh, but it hasn't been helping my like had a recent events have kind of ruined a lot of my walks for me, unfortunately, which is very unfortunate. Um, but that's what I get, I suppose. And business is not going very well. Um, I've basically spent like the past year just making stock, which is great. I have a lot of stock. Can't sell it though. but I sure do have a lot of stock. um, some of it's pretty good, honestly, if I do say so myself. But can't get eyes on it. Just can't. Not very good at the social media game. Uh, my my recent thing is I need to kind of like spruce up my various social media platforms and add a couple more. I'm dragging my heels on it so much. That's why I'm making this video, so I don't have to do what I need to do. Um, that's not true. I'm waiting on a thing to dry. I have to put a clear coat on all my stock, which is going to take fucking forever because I have so much of it, but oh well. I'll try and bang that out tonight. Maybe. I will. At least most of it. Not that it matters because none of it actually sells. I was looking into shops. Various, like, all this witchy shit, pagan shit is so popular now, like neo-pagan and stuff, and there's various shops that would kind of sell my stuff. And honestly, my shit is a lot better than a lot of the stuff they sell anyway. So they should be approaching me, but of course they don't. But I was looking at this one particular shop who's very, very friendly to local craftsmen. And they would sell my stuff for sure. However, they changed their business model recently. It used to be that they wouldn't charge for shelf space, but they would charge commission on anything that sold, which is fine. Take whatever you want, as long as it sells and I don't have to do like a subscription. But they changed it to it's like a 3-tier model. They have a £10 a month, which is fine, but they give like fuck all space, like 1 to 2 items. Like, that's nothing. In a shop full of like bric-a-brac, like getting your stuff noticed, if you're selling individual items for like £30, I would have 3 months to sell one thing, and then I would just be breaking even anyway, so it's kind of pointless. And then I would be underselling myself anyway because I put so much work into all this shit that £30 is trivial. It's like fucking nothing. So that sucks. And then they have another tier, which is £25, and you get like a little area, which is great. But I don't want to pay £25 a month for an area in your shop because I don't know how popular your shop is. I know where it is. And to be honest, it's not like a super duper popular. I can't see them having that much foot traffic, to be honest. So I would need to sell like at least 2 things per month, which doesn't seem like a lot. But when you're dealing with like a little small shop in the piss end of nowhere, it is kind of a big ask. I mean, I could just do it and like take the hit just to experiment, but it's like, where is the cutoff point? Do I go 3-4 months down the line and that's £100 down the drain, £100 that I don't have because I'm fucking broke? You know, and these are the kind of things that fucking poor people have to deal with, like me. But that's alright, I don't mind being this way. It's very difficult when you're doing everything by yourself all the fucking time and nobody gives a shit about anything that you do. um, Not even like looking at the stuff. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure if it's like an inability to understand what they're looking at or inability to appreciate what they're looking at, but I strongly get the impression that nobody gives a fuck, which is fine. There's no prerequisite for people understand giving a shit about what I do with my life, but well, there is if you're gonna get on my ass about certain things, you know what I mean. But yeah, that's just kind of like fucking people for you, isn't it? God, wouldn't it be great if like a fucking meteor just came out of the sky and erased everything, including me? Me first. I'd love that to happen. I would love. You know, there are times There are times where I visualize it, I think about it. What would that be like? What would some cosmic event that destroyed Earth be like? And honestly, it would probably be just like a flash. Just a fucking flash and a lot of confusion for a few moments, and then we'd all die, you know? And it seems like a nice way to go, to be honest. Ugh, starting to get a fucking headache. Oh, God. Is my brain too large? Are circumstances killing me? I don't know. I know that I spend too much time by myself, though. I've kind of lost the ability to kind of give a fuck about other people. To an extreme extent. Which, you might think that that's liberating. And I suppose in a way it is, but I've always prided myself on being an empathetic person. But, well, I should backpedal. It's not so much that I don't have empathy anymore, it's more that there's a trigger. I've developed a trigger, and as soon as I see certain things, and I'm not getting things reciprocated back, I automatically switch off. I stop caring about you, which is bad practice and it's bad behavior. Because if you ever get like a relationship or something, somebody that you actually care about, then you have to undo all that stuff, don't you? Uh, which takes time, The time that you put into something, it's not easy to fix. You have to often invest more time to undo something. Um, so the best habit is to recognize when you are developing a bad habit, so you don't have to backpedal like that. But fuck, I don't know. And it's very frustrating because I used to have all these like little outlets that really help. I used to write like diaries and stuff, and like you have friends, call them like helicopter friends, like hover friends, like people that you don't necessarily interact with every day, but they're kind of just there, and you can always just say, yo, what's up? You want to play a game? Or what's up? Life sucks, you know. But they're all gone now. Everybody's gone. Which in part is my fault. And in part it's just life. And that's okay. It is okay. I suppose my issue is I never really learned how to replace people once they're gone. I just sort of started with a number, and that number slowly dwindled to 0. And I've tried to address it, but trying to make friends or girlfriends these days feels very different and difficult than it used to be. I don't know if that's an age thing. I don't know if it's sort of this climate of fuck men. I've been dwelling on that quite a bit since my last dating adventure with this crazy bitch. You know, it's a sad way to be, because I recognize that there's a problem, but maybe it's not. See, it's a problem to me, right? It's a problem to me, a very, very small niche minority, a problem to me. But the majority of people are pretty happy, right? They've got their drinks on the weekend, and they're vaping, and their fucking cars, and their 9 to 5 and 40 hours a week, and they're saving up, and then maybe a family member dies and they get like a nice wee bit of chunk of money, and they put a nice down payment down with your boyfriend, and buy a nice house, fucking 2 up 2 down, and then inevitably you break up with your man, and then that's a whole shit show. But then you hop on Tinder and you're like, I own my own house. I'm a strong, independent person. uh, you know, you get all the fucking dick you want, right? God, I wish I was gay. Fuck, being gay must be so easy. People are always like, oh, it's so difficult being judged and living in this climate of persecution, right, for loving a man or a woman, this sort of gender stuff and whatever sexuality, everything is so hard. Yeah, it might be when you're fucking 16, but what isn't hard when you're 16, right? When you grow up, who gives a fuck? Like, nobody gives a shit if you're gay. Like, when was the last time you were in a public space and you were like, oh my god, there's gay people? Like, who gives a fuck? Like, seriously, I just don't care. This is why I can never really get on board with all these movements, These people have no idea about suffering. Fucking no idea. Not even close. You have no idea what it means to suffer. To be alone, to be fucking miserable, to be suicidal. Like, actually really suicidal. Not, oh, I'm gonna fucking cut my wrists and be sad for a while for attention, It's all because I'm gay, or it's all because I'm a woman, or it's all because whatever. I'm short, I'm fat. These people don't understand suffering. I understand suffering. I am warped by suffering. Truly. And that's sad. I think that's sad. But and again, I think everything is fucking sad, don't I? There are moments where I feel like I've actually lost my mind. Like I swing. I'm very polarized. I'm like, am I insane or am I actually the only sane person? I'm not sure. I swing from one side to the other. Today I'm kind of feeling like I'm actually just bonkers insane. All my social interactions are so funny when I sit back after the fact. Well, it's actually really nice because in times gone by I would get very anxious about these kind of things. Anxious during and anxious after, and then you sit and you dwell on them for a decade, But these days I have all my social interactions are always riddled with something awful, something awkward, or just anything, It's so nice because you just don't care anymore. I just don't. Um, and I have to wonder if that's representative of Michael slid off his cracker a little bit, you know. Um, there are times when I'm sitting talking to like normal people, and the bones of a person are always very obvious to me. If I'm not saying that I'm a fucking rocket scientist or anything, but it's very obvious and it's very easy to reduce a person to what they are, what they truly are. Like in society, we have such a complex framework of masking, right? All this posturing and putting up a front and appearing a certain way that you want to appear because you understand, at least in some part, that those aspects that you're trying to portray are socially acceptable or even desired, right? So, I don't know, you put up a front of being well traveled or owning your home, being financially independent, having lots of friends. So you can see that, but it's not what they really are. It's not what a person really is. And I've always been very capable of identifying what a person really is. And the sad fact is that most people are not really much of anything. when you really closely examine it. You rip away all aspects of this masking, this framework of masking. Most people are very small, very insignificant. Like there's not. It's almost like they're barely human. Um, like you take away their car and their job, their career that they don't really care about. They only care about the money. You know, even people that are in like pretty well paying jobs could probably take or leave their job. It's just a means to an end, which is fine. You know, that's a good way to be in the modern world. But what does that say about your life? You know, you're spending like 2, 3 decades in the same job. You know, maybe you get a few promotions and pay rises and it pays the bills and you have a nice house and a dog and kid and whatever, spouse. That's great. There's a lot of comfort and security that comes from that, but what are you actually doing with your life? You know, you're just gonna wake up one day, you're like 50, 60 years of age, and you're like, what am I? Or you don't. And I imagine most people don't. Isn't that what a midlife crisis is? Where these career men, they just work their asses off in some shit corporate job, and then they wake up one day and they're like, shit, I have not actually done anything with myself since I was about 16. You know? And at that point, it's too late. It's too late. Like, you can fucking pick up a guitar and learn some songs, and that's nice, but you're never gonna be, I don't know, a great guitar player. You're never gonna busk or play at a gig because you're shit. And you're too old now. You're not gonna be good at anything anymore. So you just wait, and most people are like that. You know, what is a person? What is the point of life? You know, because I don't believe in an afterlife, me personally. I just don't see it. It doesn't make sense to me. And if there is a form of reincarnation, you don't remember your previous lives, you don't remember yourself. So this is it. This is all there is. And these people don't, most people don't realize that. They don't recognize that this is all there is. So they just go from one moment to another and they're very small. Small and basic. Bunch of basic bitches. Just nothing to them. And you should see the dating scene, like everybody's so basic. How am I supposed to ever fucking meet anybody? Seriously. Because I have to fucking make myself so stupid. Oh, it's so hard. I get so bored. I get so fucking bored. That's a me problem, of course. Maybe it's not that I'm better than everybody else. Maybe it's that I've forgotten how to enjoy myself. Maybe I've forgotten how to be an idiot, you know? But even then, I remember like when I was a teenager, you used to do all these stupid things and it's dumb fun. And I still do dumb fun just by myself. And it's fun, just dumb fun. But it's not idiot fun. It's not, I don't know, fuck, what do people do? Ugh. I just feel disgusting even thinking about the conversations that people have. It's so boring. Ugh. And it's so hard to find anybody that actually sees you. you know, there's far and few between the people that can look past the mask, because even I have a mask, you know. It's paper thin, but it's there. I don't know. I don't have any answers anymore, I'm afraid. I know that, like I said before, I feel like I can see the future. Like I've lived this life before, somehow. I don't know. It would be nice at the end of the rainbow if there was some sort of recognition for my suffering, but I don't think that there is. Think that think that when I go from this fucking mortal coil, I will just have spent my whole life being miserable. And a lot of that is on me. A lot of it isn't. It's a very long chain of extremely unfortunate events culminating in a very, very bitter man. Yeah.